Let's go. Cheer!
Welcome to the Morning Swim Show for Wednesday, April 27th, 2011. I'm your host, Peter Bush. In the Finis Monitor today, we'll talk to Ed Moses. He is the 100 breaststroke silver medalist from 2000, and now he is exploring a run at the 2012 Olympics. Ed Moses joins us right now in the Finis Monitor from Manhattan Beach, California. Ed, welcome to the show. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How you guys doing?
I'm doing well, thanks. So is this a toe in the water kind of exploration, or you really think you're going to go for it?
You know, that's a really tough question at this point. I've definitely had more than a toe in the water. You know, it started about 6 months ago, and you know, I went full on with training these past couple months. I've been with Dave Salo here at SC with a lot of good swimmers. So, you know, I really don't want to predict the future and say where it's going, but right now the process is the most important thing to me right now.
Will part of the decision be based on how you swim this weekend at Masters Nationals?
You know, I really want to get some excitement for racing and the sport again. That's one thing that I haven't had over the past couple months. It's been all, you know, more early mornings and a lot of pain and soreness. So it will be nice to get up on the blocks and you know, get out there and race. I know it'll be my first time in a Masters arena, which is a little bit different, but you know, any good racer will tell you it's just getting off the blocks and you know, get that adrenaline going. So I am excited to travel for my first meet in a long time.
But are you treating this like a big meet in terms of, you know, have you come down in training to try and go times that will give you the confidence you need to feel like you're in the game? You
know, today was the first day I got out of practice early, which for me was really nice, being that it's 2 days out. And, you know, I'm not trying to put too much focus on it, but again, what I found these past couple months is that it really does come down to confidence, you know, how good I feel about myself and what I'm doing. So I would like to, you know, go some decent times. I'm obviously not in the type of shape to put up anything amazing, but, you know, I just need enough energy and excitement to come back on Tuesday and continue with you know, the work that I've done over the past couple months. So that's what I'd like to get out of it.
Have you set any sort of timetable? You know, I need to know by this summer, for example, if I'm going to continue this for next year?
Yeah, I think, to be honest with you, by the end of this summer, I'll finally be eligible to race, you know, sanctioned FINA meets and USA Swimming meets. So I will be eligible to swim Summer Nationals. And I do want to put a good bit of emphasis on that because I want to be competitive. You know, it's been hard controlling those emotions with how quickly should I be good and, you know, the expectation that I put out there. So I do want to be good there, and I do want to, you know, hang with some of the really good breaststrokers out there. So, you know, that would put me at about 10 months. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but 10 months in my career when I started about 10 years ago, you know, I wasn't at the level that I expect myself to be at this summer. But that's just my competitive self wanting to do really good at a high level.
All right, so what was the impetus for this, for the even thought process of maybe making another run at the elite level?
You know, it's really interesting because when I left swimming in 2005, I really needed to get away from the sport. I lost the love and the passion for it. And, you know, I picked up and moved to Florida and took up golf and just kind of left the water. But interestingly enough, a career in entertainment and production landed me out here in LA. And, you know, as weird as it sounds, swimming started creeping back in my life in many different ways that I didn't see it happening. You know, I met up with some friends that were training here downtown LA at SC. And, you know, the same time while that was happening, Pan Pacs and Nationals were down at Irvine. So, you know, I went and watched that meet, and for some reason that spark started kicking up that I never thought would ever come back to me. Not even on a recreational level was I even in the water. And, you know, after watching some of my good friends swim really well and talking to a few of them, I started to get that vibe again. And, you know, I figured I could get back in the water and, you know, start training and see where it took me. But I I didn't want to do it again until I found that passion. And then during that time frame, some things just started bubbling up, and I really started to see myself possibly doing this again. So that's kind of how it all started about, 6, 7, 8 months ago.
It's an interesting time for breaststroke. We don't really have a consensus best breaststroker in the world. I mean, I suppose the answer would be Kitajima, but it seems like it's more wide open than any of the other strokes right now. Did that have anything to do with you thinking, maybe I can do this?
I think a little bit of my decision, had something to do with it. I think if people were going ridiculous times that were way better than I felt like at my best, I couldn't even do, my decision would have been a little bit tougher. But it is kind of a wild event right now because Kitajima is definitely the class of the field in terms of when it's time to step up. And breaststroke is interesting because certain people pop at different times, and there's no consistency with who's been on the stage except for Kitajima. And what I thought to myself was, okay, I got Kitajima, I got Rebecca, and I got Jessica, right here in LA. So worst case scenario, I know what the best are doing. It's not going to be a secret to me while I'm training and not knowing where I'm going to go with it. So that played a big part of my decision, and especially being a blank for the U.S. Like I really don't know who's going to step up. I mean, I could name 4 or 5 breaststrokers, but it really is wide open, like you said, and come down to it, it's really my time versus their time. And when I saw theirs weren't improving too much, that gave me that extra little spark that maybe I could do it at a high level.
Please tell us you haven't changed your stroke. You always had a gorgeous breaststroke.
I have not changed my stroke, but the difficult part is recapturing that stroke. So, not all of it is just luck and talent that I was given. A lot of it is stuff that I had to develop through, hard work. And I can tell you this, my legs are not even in the same ballpark, not even the same league of where they used to be. So that's a lot of my focus. And it's really difficult to get that timing and technique in breaststroke when you're training so hard. And I really would love to capture that same stroke again that I had, and maybe capitalize on that and put a little bit more focus in some other areas. Maybe get better. I don't know. Right now it's just I'm chasing those best swimmers out there right now and trying to keep my stroke together. But the environment that's created out here it's phenomenal. You couldn't imagine a day of practice on the deck out here.
Well, I know Ryan Lochte is one of your good buddies. He's probably excited to see you back in the sport.
It's amazing what Ryan has done. What we really needed for USA Swimming and for World Swimming was a rivalry. And I think once Michael started walking away with things, it was only Michael that people talked about, and it was wonderful for the sport. But it really took a lot away from the depth and away from people that I felt like have made the sport and still continue to carry it. So Ryan, just watching him develop and be such a successful swimmer has inspired me, and he was a lot of the reason why I came back, because just seeing how he continues to climb over the years is just absolutely amazing. And to know that him and Michael are going to go at it in a couple of years it's going to be the show of 2012. There's no doubt in my mind about that. He's frustrating to me because I've trained with him a little bit in my comeback here, and he definitely beats me in breaststroke right now, as much as I hate to admit that. But he doesn't have many flaws, in his game right now. So, I love watching him and listening to him, and it does give me a lot of inspiration.
Well, it's going to be fun to see out here in the Valley of the Sun for Masters Nationals. I understand you're going to have a little entourage. The film crew is going to be following you around. What's that all about?
Yeah, I figured I'd never be able to have another chance to look back on my life in something like this. So, Ryan and I are doing a nice little documentary on the different types of ways to attack swimming. He's obviously the superstar right now, and I consistently get the jokes of the old man on deck. So we got a little show we're working on, and it's a pretty good show. It's a good look at the inside of the lives of any superstar athlete at an Olympic level that's trying to juggle life and be one of the world's best. But it's going to be exciting to get back there and race. And like I said, travel, race, be in the limelight again. I mean, that a lot of that is what people strive on. And I really, back in the day, I remember a lot of that was what made me build on my confidence. So I'm looking to get some of that back, because I do need a light at the end of this tunnel, because it's a tough tunnel right now. The first couple of weeks, maybe month, were great, but after that, a lot of days sitting around where I'm shaking my head wondering if this was the right decision or not for me right now. But I'm just trying to fall in love with the process.
Well, good luck with the process. It's good to have you back in the sport.
I really appreciate that. It means a lot.
So there's going to be a documentary with you and Ryan Lochte as the main characters?
Absolutely. We've been working on it for about 6 or 7 months now. So ever since Pan Pacs closed last fall, we've been following around a lot of our lives. Me moving out here to LA and him juggling a lot of the brand new sponsorships and exposure that he's getting, and all the comparisons to Michael. So we're going to put out something really good, I think, for not just for swimming, but for Olympics and competitive sports at that high level. It's a really fresh look at our lives with not much of a censor on it, to be honest with you. We want people to see what you have to go through day in and day out. And Ryan and I are very different now. Maybe 5-6 years ago, I would consider myself more like Ryan back then, but things have changed in my life from growing up to being 30 to running a professional business, and he's carting around everywhere in the world, from Super Bowl to gigs with Gatorade, and lots of sponsorships, obviously Speedo, and living the high life. So it's a pretty cool story that we're developing.
I was going to say, it seems like I'm envisioning part Chariots of Fire, part Jersey Shore.
I like the Chariots of Fire. Jersey Shore is maybe a little bit of a stretch. We could tone it down from Jersey Shore, and you could probably get the idea of that. But it does have more elements of character and what we're about and the lives that we live in. Swimming. You're not going to find a swimming documentary here, because everybody shows up on deck at that level and knows what it takes. But the lives and the challenges and the ups and downs, from family to social to financial, it's all in there. I would call it more of an entertainment documentary than it would be information. So I try and keep the training secrets to myself.
All right, Ed, good luck. Thanks a lot for joining us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, guys. See you this weekend.
All right. That's Ed Moses joining us from Manhattan Beach, California. That is it for today's show. I'm Peter Bush, reminding you to keep your head down at the finish.